All right, well, good evening, everybody. Time right now is around 6:37, and as we talked earlier today, we were expecting a little severe weather, and we've got a little bit of that there, and it's in southwest Oklahoma. And then we'll talk about areas further south and further east. I know you want to know if it's going to impact you or where it's going to impact, and we will get to that here in just a moment. But for right now, what I want to do is I want to focus in on where this storm is, and then we'll kind of talk about the dangers with it and where it's headed and all those kinds of good things. So first of all, here's your tornado warning here. And I know you see these triangles. That represents hell there. And then this represents here. I really don't know this is a new program. I'm still not real familiar with a lot of the things that the little algorithms represent here. But there's your tornado warning. It looks like it's for the western parts of Jackson County there in southwestern Oklahoma. And the storm itself it was moving east, but this is a bit of it looks like it's still kind of moving slightly south of due east. So kind of a little bit of a right mover. We see these from time to time with these big supercells that are rotating. A lot of instability there in southwest Oklahoma. So if we take a look there, it is moving east, kind of like I say, a little south of due east. On this current path, the hook echo or the rotating part of the storm would probably stay a little south of Altus. It's moving south of East Duke, and then it could head towards Alusty. It's not moving very fast. Upper level flow isn't particularly strong, so it's a pretty slow moving storm here. And like I say, it's moving a little bit south of due east. So if we continue to watch this area here, there's actually a couple other storms up there to the north of it, but those are not going to impact us. There's also a storm down to the south of us, kind of down in the Abilene area with the tornado warning there too. But this particular tornado warning is, basically, the one here in southwest Oklahoma. There in down here in North Texas this afternoon, there's been an area of dry air. That's what's called subsidence, sinking air, that developed. And it actually what we call mixed out the real soupy air here in Wichita Falls. We cleared out, actually pretty nice outside. So as it moves eastward, it may start encountering a less favorable environment. So I don't know how much longer this storm is going to last. I do think it'll last for at least a while longer. And I think that we'll continue to see more of at least southern and maybe eastern Jackson County impacted by this storm. Again, not moving very quickly. I suppose it might last into the western parts of Tillman County. It could maybe even brush the northern parts of Wilbarger County. If the storm were to turn a little bit more south of east, then it might even impact more of Wilbarger and more of northwest Texas. But as of right now, it's not moving very fast. It's moving pretty slow, and only kind of drifting there into the southwestern parts there of Altus, Jackson County. I can stop this from moving here, and we can take a look at the rotation in it to see what that looks like. If we look here, I can put this into motion here for you. And the rotation appears to be pretty broad, although there is at least some decent, looks like some decent rotation just south of McQueen, kind of where that little green triangle is there. You do have a little bit of tightening circulation in there. So broad rotation, but at least in that little area, right where you see that green triangle, there is a little bit of decent rotation trying to develop. It doesn't look like, anyway, to me, that this is producing a tornado right now. You don't really see super tight rotation. There's a little bit in there. If there is, it probably isn't very strong. But, I will keep an eye on that for you here. Let's look at another velocity product. And, there again, I mean, it's got some decent rotation with it, but nothing that just looks super ominous to me at this point in time. Not going to rule it out, but certainly could produce something there, mostly over rural sections of Jackson County. So we'll keep an eye on that. The bigger concern could be just some really big hail up to the north there. And this big hail could wind up impacting Altus and the Altus area. Maybe some lighter showers trying to develop on the forward flank of this storm. But the severe stuff is west of you, over close to East Duke and those areas. So it does have some rotation. I don't see a tornado with this right now. There's not one reported. This is just kind of a radar indicator from the Weather Service, and that's why the warning. This is a big thunderstorm. It's really grown. It's in an area of a lot of storm energy, and that's why this storm is able to kind of last a little bit. But again, as it moves a little bit further to the east, it starts to encounter, some drier air, that's been able to mix into the equation down here in North Texas. So I still think there's a chance that this storm will be impacting at least southern and eastern Jackson County, maybe Tillman County, and maybe the northern parts of Wilbarger County, maybe over the next hour or two. So again, not moving very fast. Main concern is hail, and we'll see if the rotation can increase. As of right now, I do not see a lot of rotation with that particular storm. Let me see if there's any storm chasers on it. I'm going to go to a site here and see my storm chasing site here and see if there's any storm chasers out there on this particular cell. It looks like there are some, but it doesn't look like anybody has any good streams up at this time here. Let me see if I can find somebody. There are several in that area. So let's see here. So I'm about to pull up a stream here in just a minute. I'm trying to find the one I want to use. I was hoping that we had my buddy Brandon Clement was there, or Eric Fox was there, but I don't see him at this time here. So there's Brad Arnold. He's a good chaser. But yeah, I do got a stream. I am watching some of these streams here, and I could probably pull some of these streams in too. I don't. So we may try to do that here in a minute here and see what we get here. I'm just trying to see which ones are decent here. We got some decent video, and when I do see some decent video, maybe I can pull that up for you. But from what I'm seeing here, I don't see a tornado, but I don't see really anything on here at this time that's worth even really showing. Several people that are driving to it, but that's about it. So I don't know. I'll try to pull this in here so y'all can see it. So anyway, so we're watching that storm again. Let's look at the latest rotation with it here, and then we'll try to pull in some storm chasers, and we'll talk a little bit about the forecast moving forward too. I'm not going to get too deep, dive too deep in it. So I just see on the radar there where that blue and those red colors are, it's just pretty broad. You don't see a real tight circulation in there. So I don't think that this is producing. I wouldn't be surprised if it has a bit of a ragged wall cloud with it, but it doesn't look like it's producing a tornado. But it's moving kind of east-southeast, kind of moving more southeast than it is east-southeast. So it's kind of headed towards the rotation headed towards Coretta. And very close to, if not just north of El Dorado, is the area that that's kind of moving into. I wish I could illustrate with this, but I have a hard time. It doesn't. This particular program doesn't have an illustration with it. So what you got there with it is you got the red color show winds blowing away from the radar, and the blue would show toward blowing on this particular radar anyway. Shows the winds blowing towards the radar. So, if you've got to really start seeing these colors kind of wrap into each other. And it looks like a severe thunderstorm warning has now been issued for this and not a tornado warning here as it moves further out. And that severe thunderstorm warning covers just about all of Jackson County. And it does go into a very small sliver there of the northern parts of Wilbarger County. Now, you can see it looks like the storm is headed towards Wichita Falls and Randolette and Burke. But I don't know that the storm's going to survive. I mean, once the sun goes down, it's going to, number one, you're going to see the cap increase. And then number two, once the sun goes down, as it moves further southeast, it starts to run into more stable air. I need to do an analysis and see what it's showing here at this time. So if I ever get anything good with the storm chaser, of course, there's a lot of storm chasers up there on it. I'll bring in a video here feed. Looks like there's some pretty strong inflow blowing into the storm here. I will show that. Let's pull that in. I don't know that it will show it, so it's not going to show it. It won't let me show. A lot of times, the program that I'm using won't let me show live storm chaser feed. It blocks it out for whatever reason. I don't know why that is, but it does. So it's the program itself that causes that. So you don't see a chaser feed there because of that. So we'll have to just do with radar. But I am looking at on Live Storms Media. You do got a lot of dust flowing into that storm there. A lot of strong inflow blowing into it. Pretty nasty looking thunderstorm there, honestly. Pretty strong thunderstorm. All right, so let me see first if there's any questions being asked here. So my radar shows storms are coming into Bowie, but the new radar doesn't show it. So let me see there. I mean, somebody asked about Bowie, and let me see if there. I don't think there's anything. I think you're in the stable air too. Yeah, there's no storms over there in the Bowie. You're fine. No storms there in Bowie. So you're good. I think the air is pretty stable over there. I don't know. I don't think Wichita Falls is, Deborah. That storm is kind of moving at us, but I think it's going to fall apart before it gets here. Yeah, thanks a lot, Mark. Reed's a great meteorologist, but I just think he's kind of gotten away from what made him great. I don't think it is. It's heading kind of in our direction, but I think it's going. I think it's going to die out before it gets here. And while the spinning part of the storm will miss Altus, heavy rain and at least some hail threats into Altus. I think you're fine in Warika Lake. We'll keep an eye. It's several hours away from Warika, and I think that it would probably fall apart and probably die before it gets there. But we'll have to kind of wait and see what happens there. So we'll have to just kind of wait and see what happens. I am going to do on air here. I'm watching Lawton, but again, it's still a ways away from the storm. Isn't moving very fast, so I don't know that it'll even impact Lawton. Honestly, we'll just have to kind of wait and see. What happens with it. You can see it's moving kind of east, maybe a little south of it, but it's not moving very fast. It's not moving fast at all. But if we can get this storm to last into the period after dark, then you might see the tornado threat increase a little bit if it can kind of maintain itself. But the rotation is very weak in this storm. I don't see anything major rotation wise. Nothing that's imminent. Nothing. You're seeing a tornado develop here yet. There are some pretty strong winds. We call this the RFD, rear flank downdraft. So you can see the rear flank downdraft winds increasing. Have been on the back side of it some, but you don't see real strong. You don't see that really wrapping around strongly. That RFD has to wrap around the updraft in order for there to be a tornado develop with it. But you really don't see that right now. But we'll keep an eye on it because the winds are strengthening there on the backside of it. You could see perhaps a new mesocyclone develop on the backside too. That could also be about to happen. That's a big storm, no doubt about it, with some pretty big hail there, basically from McQueen into East Duke, and some of that hail will be developing over towards Altus here pretty soon. So don't be surprised if you get some hail there with this particular storm. So I'm gonna widen this. There's also storms there in southwest Oklahoma, but those are mostly hail producers. We can widen this. We've had some tornado warnings again today. Boy, just down towards San Angelo, those areas have just hit so hard with severe weather and tornadoes as of late. So many tornadoes down there in those areas. So let's see if there's. Let's go back to our storm. But to me, this is a really strong thunderstorm here on radar. Really strong. And if you look again, the velocities don't really indicate a tornado here. I can see spin, but the spin is mostly aloft here in the storm. But, there it is. You can see the little spin there in the storm there. So, but there it is. There's your hook, and there's your hail there over Jackson County. But let's look at your questions here. Vernon, I'm watching you, Vernon, but I think this storm stays north of you, and it's just not moving very quickly. But I am keeping an eye on that. I think you're going to be okay. Tipton, we'll watch you. This storm is to your northwest. It's closer to you than it is anybody else, but it's not moving very fast. So it would probably be an hour or more before it got to you, even if it does get to you. We'll just have to kind of wait and see the behavior. Supercell storms, they rotate, they spin. And when they spin, sometimes it causes them to do deviant motion. So the storm may start off moving due east, and then it starts to rotate, and then all of a sudden it starts moving a little more south of due east, and it starts moving a little bit to the right. And sometimes they can kind of move back left. They can just do erratic motions. You don't have a lot of low level spin in the atmosphere at this time, so I don't know if there is a big threat with this particular storm. I don't think there's a tornado on the ground with this. I don't see a report of that anyway. And the radar presentation certainly doesn't suggest that. You do see rotation, but it isn't particularly strong. It's a bit on the weak side, and I do got some storm chasers in that area that I'm watching, and you can see some movement with the storm. I can see some movement in the clouds, and and I see some dust underneath the rotating wall cloud, but I believe that's in the form of a perhaps maybe a gustnado. Maybe a gustnado is basically a dust devil underneath these wall clouds. I believe that's what that is, but it's hard to say. But I do see some pretty good motion in the thunderstorm wind there. I wish there was a way I could bring this in. There might be. Let me see. Let me see if there's a way I can bring that in here. So I'll see. I tried screen capture. That didn't work. Let's try a media file and see if that works here. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to bring a storm chase media file in here. So give me just a second because I want to show y'all what I'm looking at here. Well, it's not media. It's a browser. That's right. So I'm trying to do something here on the fly. So sorry, guys. Um, so I don't know. I mean, and it's possible, but the radar really doesn't show that. But I mean, storm chasers are, there are eyes and ears out there. So they're the ones who kind of let us know. So there could be one on the ground. What I'm seeing here, I see some motions in it, but I don't see a lot of significant. I don't see anything that suggests this thing is producing, honestly. But I mean, it could be. All right, so here's my browser source here, and this is I'm gonna try to bring in here my storm chasers and see what we can do with this here. So give me just a second here. All right, so I'm playing around with this a bit here. This is let me go down here in southwest Oklahoma here. So this is on Live Storm Chase. This is Live Storms Media, and this is Brett Adair runs this site. There's my good buddy Brandon Clement. I wonder if he has a good tornado on. This dude's pretty good. Well, he's not showing anything. Let's see if this guy has anything here. All right, so there we are. There. This is the storm. This is near El Dorado, Oklahoma. Doesn't look like he's got anything on his. Let's go to this guy here and see if he has anything on his. All right, so there you go. There's a good shot of whatever this is here. So you can see some spin there, and if you look, it's hard to say. I don't see anything though, but beneath it, you can see the low clouds. You do not see a funnel in there. I do not see a tornado in there as of right now. Anyway, I don't see that. But I'm not saying it's not there, but I just don't see one. It could be wrapped in rain. So let's see if there's another one here we can go with.
So I would definitely say if we're not going to go east, then we need to drop back south of that highway.
So anyway, this is here. I'm going to shut this down here. Take that off. I need to take the audio off of that. I don't want the audio to play here. All right, so I think we got the audio turned off there now. So, but anyway, we're still looking at this storm here, and I just don't see. There's some rotation in there, but it's not super tight. But the rotation is now sitting on the border there of of Jackson County there, and what is that? Hardeman County over there to the west. I can't remember what county that is there in Oklahoma, but it's just north of El Dorado. And if you put this in motion, you can see it's moving. It's probably about to drop a little more south than do a southeast because of the way the way to reposition itself. So this is going to continue to drop north and could potentially maybe even get down close to the Red River there. I tell you what, if it continues to get to do this, if it were to continue to grow and continue to maintain itself down into North Texas, I would probably go into work and probably send Cameron out in the tracker. But as of right now, I'm not. There just looks like there's a lot of convective inhibition. The cap is starting to increase there on the radar. That's what all that blue fuzzy stuff you see is there. So I don't know. It's not moving very much, and I don't know that that's going to happen. But yeah, definitely damaging hail there in the western parts of Jackson County. There's a new radar update coming in, and let's see. Sorry, my dogs are barking. Let's see if we can see this. So it looks like the rotation may be getting a little bit tighter, a little bit more organized there. It could be. So I'll keep an eye on that. Like I said, I've got a good video feed of it here, and if I do see anything dropping down out of it, I can always jump onto that. Sorry, my dogs are in the background barking here. I'm at home. My son graduates high school on Saturday, so my parents are in town, and I'm off work this week. But when we have weather, I've got to be in a position to where I can keep you guys informed, and they all understand that. But I'm at home right now, and I'll go in if I need to. There's a pretty good view of it. Looks like they're in from El Dorado. So there's a pretty good view of the wall cloud there in El Dorado. From El Dorado. Let's pull that in here. Let's go here and show that. So let me reposition some stuff here. I got to get the get interactive back on here. So what I'm going to do is, let's see if this is it here. No, that's not the one I want. Well, I thought he had a good one. I think maybe this was down in Texas. Yeah, there's a big wall cloud there, and down there in Texas, looks like you can see the big wall cloud. But that's way down there in central Texas. That's not anywhere close to us. They've had a lot of bad weather in those areas. It's just been a bad year for them. A lot of places have gotten a lot of severe weather this year, but we really haven't seen a lot here in our part of the world. It's been all around us, but we hadn't seen a whole lot here. So, that's I'm not complaining. That's good news. I'm not sad about that. So, but it does appear as though that rotation is trying to tighten up a little bit there. But nothing that looks too scary at the moment. It's just not moving very fast. It's just kind of sitting there and spinning. So, we got plenty of time to watch this. And, I'm not going to stay on the whole time here. I'll probably do an update here or there and then jump off. So, that's probably how we're gonna handle this. So I've got some things. My floor buckled today. I just put down some new tile, and the daggum floor buckled. So, but that's a really big hook echo, really big supercell now there in the very far western parts of Jackson County. You see the overall anvil stretching out there to a lusty, some hail there, probably some pretty big hail, and it's not moving very fast. So probably quite a bit of hail falling out of the storm here, but again, that's southwest Oklahoma, and we'll have to just see the movement that it takes. Right now, I'm thinking that it's going to begin to weaken over the next several hours. But if it does happen to reorganize and move a little bit further south, then this thing could wind up down there in parts of Wilbarger County, maybe even Hardeman County. But next up after Jackson County will be Tillman County. Tipton, you could be in store for this. It could maybe in time could brush cotton, maybe Comanche, but again, I just don't know that it's going to survive that long. You know, whenever we lose in this part of the country, when we lose that daytime heating, we usually begin to lose the instability, and you see the cap take over. But that is a stretched out. You can see the hail wrapping around the hook echo on it. You know, you can see some what looks like decent rotation showing up on it. It's not super strong, but it is there. But it's got a big, huge hook on it. Man, from a structure standpoint, that is a big supercell. But I do not see, what appears to be a tornadic circulation at this time, but it is getting a little bit better organized. So there could be something at least small, perhaps developing in that, perhaps, maybe. Brad Arnold, that's a good. This guy's got a great look at it. Let me see if I can pull into his storm chase feed here. There it is. All right, so there's your wall cloud. That's a good view of it, folks. Look at that there. Look at the rotation in that storm. Now, that is some significant rotation there. Reed Timber just rolled the car. That's not good. I hope he's all right. But that has some good rotation in it. You can really see that wall cloud there nicely. You can see the spin in it. And, it's got a good bit of rotation on it. This is going to be just north of El Dorado in Jackson County. A big wall cloud rotating really fast here. We're going to see if anything starts to drop down. It looks like you may have a little funnel there right in the middle trying to come down. So, and this is south of Altus. And yes, I do think that this will miss Altus. I do believe that this will miss Altus. But there is a lot of rotation in this. And, you see with this wall cloud here, you see, keep me updated on Reed. I hope he's okay. Prayers, definitely. So what you see is here, you see there's different temperature contrasts when you get a wall cloud. You've got some rain-cooled air, and you've also got this warm, humid air flowing into the storm, and it's this contrasting temperature that creates this low-hanging condensation. And as the spin increases, that condensation increases, and you see a drop in pressure right there in the middle. And as that pressure lowers, the cloud will get lower, and if it can get low enough, a tornado will descend out of that. But yeah, that's some pretty tight rotation. That's a pretty good wall cloud there from Brad Arnold there in El Dorado, Oklahoma. Pretty significant wall cloud there. People want to know if this is going to hit Altus. I don't think it's going to. I think it's going to stay south. Looks like we got a tornado there developing, guys. So tornado right there. Looks like a decent tornado. You can see the strong rotation there. That's a tornado that has developed there in Jackson County. Looks like it's hard to say if it's still down, but with that rotation being as tight as it is, it looks like we had at least a brief touchdown there for a moment north of El Dorado, Oklahoma, there south of Altus. Now, keep in mind, this storm is not moving much, moving a little bit to the east, southeast. Looks like we still got some rapid motion there underneath that wall cloud, and you're still seeing some stuff fly up. So it looks like we still got a tornado there, right there in the middle. There he is, folks. That's live action right there. That's from Brad Arnold, Storm Chaser, there off of Live Storms Media here. But there's your tornado. You can see pretty rapid movement there. Pretty significant tornado. Looks like multiple vortices on the stream. And again, this is in Jackson County. I'm gonna text Cameron real fast. But yeah, it's a pretty good tornado, pretty big tornado that has developed. But you can see the rapid motion. Look at the rapid motion there, people. That is a multiple. Oh man, where did that go? What happened to his feed? Man, he had some great feed in there, and then it's just gone all of a sudden. So I don't know what happened there. Let me see if I can figure out what's going on. It looks like we lost his feed, but that was some rapid motion in that storm there for a minute. So let's go back here to his feed again. Maybe he's repositioning himself. I'm not sure what he's doing, but they're definitely that definitely isn't what we were just looking at. But that was some rapid motion there for just a moment, like a pretty big tornado that was developing. All right, so let's go back to radar, and I'll continue to check his source here as we get it. But yeah, you can see the rotation and how it has really, really tightened up on radar there, just north of El Dorado and kind of northwest. So we have this pink box. This means a confirmed large and extremely dangerous tornado was located 6 miles north of El Dorado, moving east at 5 miles per hour. So this is very rural areas there in Jackson County, but this is a confirmed tornado now. Confirmed. You saw it a minute ago. You saw it there. Big tornado on the ground there. Pretty significant. Sorry, I'm updating Cameron on what's going on here. But yeah, there's your confirmed tornado. You can see the tight rotation there on the storm. We can put this evolution. You can see how it evolved there. It kind of became stationary. When it did so, it just really started spinning up quick. As it's got this new tornado to develop, it just really just kind of developed and kind of spun up. That's pretty significant rotation though, showing up on radar there. North of El Dorado, and just if you live in this Creta area, Creta town, or even over towards Lusty or anywhere south of Duke, this is mostly rural areas, but those areas need to be keeping an eye on things because this storm, again, this is a very well, you can see the big hook echo on it, huge hook echo on this storm, and it's moving. You can see how it just stalled out with that new spin there. You're probably seeing what we call a left split develop on the north side of that. So the southern part of this storm is probably going to turn a little bit more to the right. I need to do a quick little analysis because I may have to wind up going into the station here in just a moment. Because if this continues, we're gonna have a mess, and we got to get to send Cameron out. So let me do a little bit of a weather analysis here, see what's going on here, make sure nothing has changed because that was a pretty significant tornado. So yeah, I mean the air just south of that is so stable, man. It's just that I don't see this storm being able to last that much longer. It just to me just looks like this air is going to be very stable. You got a lot of substance still on the backside of that, so I'm just thinking that the storm is going to eventually begin to fall apart. But I don't know. There's some decent instability with Cape values. A little bit to the. I could still see areas along the Red River and just to the north, maybe there in far northwest Texas, far southwest Oklahoma. I'm talking about northwest of Altus, northwest of Wichita Falls, still being into this here. Dew Point has gotten back up, jumped back up to 68 here. We were in the 70s, but this storm, wow, and this is a day where the wind shear isn't particularly strong. Man, it's just not. It's just the deviant motion with the storm that caused that because it's just really just not that strong. So, but yeah, this storm did put down a tornado for sure, confirmed. That's what the purple box means there. It's confirmed tornado. Let's see what the latest velocity scans look like on it. Yeah, still see that significant rotation there. Still looks like a significant tornado on the ground. Kind of north of El Dorado there and just northwest of the town of Creta. Pretty significant tornado there on the ground. Big hook echo, and we got this red box. I wonder what the red box means here. I'm not used to all this. So TDS EF.5. Let's see if there is TDS with this signature here. I don't really see one. There might be, but I don't really see a TDS with it. There could be a little bit of debris in there, just kind of north of that triangle there, but it doesn't really look like much. Oh, sorry, I'm looking at some things on here. This is some stuff that I never use. I'm not sure what this is here. It says PTDS. I'm not sure what that is. I'm just looking, playing the toys on here at this time. Yeah, I don't know what any of that stuff is. But this shows, you can really see the where that rotation is there. You know, significant rotation in there just north of El Dorado still. So let's go back to our base reflectivity. That just got a big old hook on it. Wow, that thing looks weird. So new tornado warning has just been issued for this. What is going on with this box here? I'm not sure what's going on here with this, folks. So I've done something to this that's kind of screwed it up a bit. All right, let me shut this program down and I'll come bring it back on here in just a second because I don't know what I did. You can hardly hear me. I've got good audio levels here, so I don't know. I'm not doing a whole lot of talking, so that may be it. You know, I've just been doing some looking, but I can turn my audio levels way up if you want me to here. I've got a good little system. Boy, look at that thing. So tornado warning now. It covers most of Jackson County there. So it covers Alusty and those areas. Tornado warning for those spots. Big supercell, big hook echo. I've spent a lot of money here on my stuff here, and it's supposed to be able to pick up. I think I'm just not saying much. So let me know if you can't hear me now. I mean, it should be good. The levels appear to be really good. So I've got everything turned up. As a matter of fact, it shows on my end that it's too loud. So yeah, I figured I was. I just probably wasn't just saying anything there for a minute. So, but look at that, folks. Look at that. That's a purple. And again, I'm not sure what a lot of this stuff means here. I don't know what it's new. A lot of this stuff's new technology, but that is a significant. Let me see if there's a stream here. Let me see here what we got. All right, so yeah, there's a large wedge tornado on the ground with this here. I'm going to try to pull this in. All right, so this is it's hard to see because of the contrast there, but you can really see the spin there. Looks like it could be rain. Pretty large tornado there on the ground there in rural parts of Jackson County is what you're seeing there. It's earlier it was a really nice tornado that developed, but now it's just kind of broad there. It's kind of this kind of big wedge there. This happened on a day when there was hardly any wind shear in the atmosphere, just a lot of instability, a lot of cape. This year, though, every storm seems to have just been overachieving. It's just everything has overachieved this year and just producing tornadoes. It's just really weird how this has been, just really weird. I mean, everything is producing. Even on days it doesn't look like it's going to produce, everything is producing. Let's see if this guy has a good stream. He's positioning himself. I wish I could get Brendan Clement, but the best we're going to do is this, and it's hard to see because there's a pretty significant contract. Your audio is stuck in a loop. I don't know what you mean by that. I need you guys to explain because it could be on like a stuck record. It's probably this stupid Streamlabs program. If you ever do streaming, don't go Streamlabs. This has been the worst program ever. It sucks. So I'm working on trying to trim down the audio here a bit. So yeah, some people say they hear it. Some people say they don't. So I don't know what what's going on here with it. I mean, so I can't worry about it right now. So. All right. So anyway, but you can see the storm there. I don't know if you guys can hear the Chaser stream. Hopefully you can. I'm trying not to show that. the audio. You can see the stream, but you can't see the audio anyway. But that was it was really cool to see that tornado develop on live on here. And the technology is there to be able to see this these days. So here's one from Mangum, Oklahoma. Looks like they're trying to drive to get into the position to see this, view this. This is the one we got it off of. Adam Lucio. He really had a good stream earlier, but it looks like he must be down at the moment. But that's the best we're going to do. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to radar here and take a look there. And the rotation on the radar is still very significant. Still a very significant tornado about to move over the town of Creta. About to move over Creta now. So if you're in Creta, you need to be in your safe spot now. Safe spot, Creta. This is going to go just north of El Dorado, but the Creta community, the little town of Creta, our community there, this tornado is a significant, large tornado on the ground, and it's about to move right on top of you. I mean, this is a very dangerous storm, very dangerous indeed. And I bet he does. I wish I could see some of his live footage, but I don't. You have to subscribe to all that, and I don't. Reed does a good job with that. One day he's gonna screw up though. So, but yeah, that's a big tornado right there for sure. But I got the streams up here, and I'm still watching it. That's a big tornado there, folks. Hopefully this thing occludes and weakens still, but you can see the big hook on it. That's it was moving kind of southeast, but now it's kind of wrapped up, and it's just not moving much there. Southern parts of Jackson County. This is not going to impact Altus. This is going to pretty much stay stationary, kind of where it's at. The warning does include El Dorado, but the storm's going to have to take a pretty sharp southward turn in order for that to happen. To me right now, it looks like this is going to mostly be kind of east-southeast of El Dorado. Now, it could head towards Olustee. It could, but it's, what will probably happen with this, we see with these storms is, with these big tornadoes anyway, it'll move to the east, southeast, and then it begins to move more east, and then it'll move north and then northeast. So don't be surprised if this thing does a bit of a circle as it's beginning to weaken. Usually as they begin to, they'll turn a bit to the left. These big tornadoes will turn a bit to the left before they begin to weaken here some. So that's possible that could happen with this particular storm here. So hopefully this will lift up before it gets to Creta. No, I don't think so, Ty. We're seeing a lot of sinking air over into Wichita Falls. You saw that by the clearing today and all that sunshine. And I think that there's too much. I think that the atmosphere is too stable here. I think this storm will weaken long before it gets here. But it's going to continue to churn out there and crank out and producing lots of hail and occasional tornadoes there into the southern parts of Jackson County. It looks like the tornado has indeed turned a little bit more to the east now. It was moving southeast. Yeah, very impressive hook there, man. Very impressive indeed. So it was moving southeast. Now it's moving a little bit to the east. And don't be surprised if that thing winds up moving north here as it begins to weaken pretty soon. Let's see if there's any more, if we got any chasers on here anywhere. Let's see if we got anything from some of these guys here. All right, so this guy is in El Dorado, Oklahoma, and looks like we keep on having trouble keeping his feed up and running. But you can see the tornado, big tornado there to the north of where he is at. There's a big one on the ground, and really big. That's the one we saw, and boy, that thing developed right in front of him, man. It was huge. And this guy, you can almost see from where his vantage point. It's just such a big tornado, it's hard to see, and there's a lot of this big contrast there. But you can almost see the dust there in the field. Thankfully, this is out over open rural areas. Thankfully, this is in rural areas. So, again, this is kind of out there in the middle of Jackson County. It's kind of in between towns and communities, which is certainly, some good news. It's not really impacting a lot of places right now. So, but let me see if I can find another one here. This is the one that's been really good here, and he keeps on trying to position himself, though, and probably not a lot of good service there in that area. Let me see if there's a. This guy's in Mangum, Oklahoma, trying to position himself. There's Adams. He's trying to get in position. And there's El Dorado. There's Adam again. He doesn't have a stream up. Probably, like I say, trying to get in position for some of these stuff here. So, but anyway, this thing is pretty nasty out there, producing, pretty significant tornado there, mostly over rural areas, which is good news. Yeah, I'm sure they did have it live there. This is more of their area. We did not send I'm on vacation today, and we did not send our tracker out today. But I'm sure they did have it live because it was pretty easy to chase out. It was pretty easy to see it. But this is moving due east now. It looks like it's going to move on the north side of Creta or just north of Creta. It's going to get close to a Lusty before it moves. It's going to, again, it's moving east, but it's going to occlude as it begins to move east. It means it's going to move back to the north. So this is going to head towards a Lusty, and then it's going to move north and kind of go east of Duke, and it could impact Altus. It could. So I'm watching that really closely. We were thinking this was going to stay well south of Altus, but now that it's beginning to occlude, it's going to lift north. I think that this tornado will move north there, probably passing a Lusty and probably moving between East Duke and Altus. So if you are on the west side of Altus, then you need to be in your tornado safe spot because this is a large tornado. I do expect it to weaken here as it begins to occlude as it lifts northward. But a Lusty and the areas between East Duke and Altus needs to be in their safe spot now because this is moving kind of a little bit. It's doing what these storms usually do. When they begin to get this strong, they'll move from the southeast east, and then they'll go northeast and then due north. So East Duke, Altus, Lusty. Watch closely. Let's see if we got any new streamers up here. This isn't a rural area, so we may not. It doesn't look like we do at this time, but let me see. What we got here. And this guy keeps on trying to position himself. This guy actually had the tornado developing right there. We had it live here on 2. So, Vernon, you're going to be fine. I think this storm stays north of you. So this guy's trying to position himself, and so Audrey, no, you don't need to worry. I'm telling you, the storm stays north of you. I don't think it's going to be anything for you to really have to worry about. Oh, I see that the browser source is showing up. So I took the audio off the browser source, so maybe that doesn't interfere with things. Yeah, I don't have anything. This guy doesn't have really anything that's too good at the moment. So I'm going to try to. Yeah, I feel bad because I did not go into the station today. I told Cameron that we probably, just to handle himself, and he really wanted to go chase him, but I wouldn't let him. So today I just, pretty rural areas, and we've actually tried to cut back some of our coverage. We don't do as much wall-to-wall coverage these days unless it's impacting, more populated areas. There's no reason. Ty, why? Why is your anxiety going crazy? There's no reason. No, Audrey, you don't. Ty, you don't have any reason to be worried either. No, I think this storm's going to weaken before it gets to Burkburnett. No, there's no reason to be. Let me tell you, unless you're in Altus and in Jackson County, then you don't need to worry. You don't need to have your anxiety. North of the Red River, maybe. Tillman, Jackson, those areas. Otherwise, you don't need to be worried too much right now. I really just don't. This is going to stay north. We're too stable outside. This is going to weaken before it gets down to us. It may even impact you, Melinda and Frederick. It's moving very slowly. See, what happens is you guys think I'm going to be wrong. You're expecting me to be wrong, and I'm telling you, you don't have anything to be worried about. Now, see how it's moving now more east than it was southeast? It's because the tornado is beginning to weaken as it moves east. It'll move north. And then you'll see another one develop on the backside of it probably. But like I say, Jackson County, maybe the northern parts of Tillman County. I think this storm could stay north of Frederick. Then maybe over towards Snyder and those areas. So, I don't know, Audrey, where you are. But I think that if you're in North Texas, and especially Ty, I don't know where I don't remember where you live either. But y'all are gonna be all right. Don't worry about it. So Kobe Bryant of weather. They do call me the GOAT, right? So let's take the time to zoom back in here and make sure we got the radar up here on my Streamlabs account. Looks like I need to get off of that here. So. You live in Duncan. You're going to be fine. Ty, you have nothing to worry about. Nothing. Audrey, you have nothing. Nothing to worry about. No reason to be scared. Maybe Saturday, but we'll get to Saturday once we get through this little event here tonight. So what's going to happen with this, I wish I could illustrate on here, but I don't have an illustration. But what's going to happen with these storms, you'll probably continue to see them maintain themselves for another hour or so. And then they're probably going to continue to lift kind of east. So you might have to worry about the area, northern Tillman County, from there over towards Snyder. And if it can hold together, maybe into the western parts of Comanche County, but it may fall apart before then. But this is a pretty well developed, a pretty significant supercell thunderstorm. So it could, it's nasty. And look at how strong that tornado is. That's still a very violent signature on radar. But now it's moving more northeast. It's wrapping around. It's going to start moving north here pretty soon. It looks like it's headed towards Altus, but I don't know. So it looks like a Lusty is the next up. The tornado there is going to be close to a Lusty, and then So it looks like I'm going to let Cameron go on live with this tornado there in Jackson County until it passes through Jackson. We tried to, but this is a pretty big tornado on the ground. I don't think it's going to impact Jackson or Altus, but it is moving up that way. No, nothing in Nakona tonight. Nothing at Waurika Lake. You're fine. So, but it's Jackson County. Jackson County, maybe northern Tillman County. There's the only two counties I'm really worried about. Yeah, this is this storm, but you can see everything I've said is going to happen with it is happening with it now. The tornado is going to move northeast of Alusty, and it's kind of moved between East Duke and Altus. If you're west of Altus or on the west side of Altus, you need to be taking your safe spot now. This storm is it's a dangerous tornado that's on the ground here. It's confirmed on the ground. Large tornado. Let's see if any of my storm chaser feeds have it up and running here. Let me see here. Brett Adair. Brett Adair is a great storm chaser. I wish I could pull his up. I'm looking at chaser feeds right now. So give me just a second. Looks like his is down, and that's a good chaser. Brad Arnold's a good chaser. I'd like to pull his up too, but it looks like he doesn't have a stream up. Brandon Ivy's a good chaser. Oh, Brandon Ivy's got a good shot of it. So let's go to his. I'm gonna go and pull up my browser here. And so the tornado is moving now northeast. It's going to pass just northeast of Alusty, and then it's going to move up there very close to or just west of Altus. So if you are in the western side of Altus, then you need to be in your safe spot. I don't know that this is going to move right over Altus. I think that this is going to move basically kind of um, over the kind of over the western side of Altus. But if you look there, big wall cloud. Tornado is probably wrapped in rain there some. Probably wrapped in rain. James, yes, it's headed at Altus, but don't be surprised if it goes north and lifts up and misses Altus. I've seen these before. I usually this is what happens. So it looks like it's headed towards Altus, but I don't know that it's going to. So it's going to miss a Lusty, and I think it's going to cross the highway between East Duke and between Duke and Altus. It looks like it's headed up towards Altus, but remember, these things begin to weaken. They call it a clue. They start occluding. They move erratically, and it'll start moving more north. It's going to be a real close call in Altus. Still a strong tornado on the ground there. Very close call, but I think it's going to lift and kind of move on the western side of Altus here shortly. And from there, it's going to lift up, and then it could maybe even impact the Martha area. So it's probably going to weaken. So what you're going to wind up seeing is this thing's going to move north and then move northeast, and then it's going to weaken. I do not see development on the back side of it here, but it's close. It's a close enough call to where we really have to watch Altus closely. I think you're going to be okay. I think it's going to miss you, but it's people ask me why I'm not on Channel 6. So if you wonder why I'm not on Channel 6 tonight, I'm off, and I just look at that picture, huge tornado, solid white picture by Storm Chaser. Yeah, we should have had Cameron up there today. That's my fault. I hate missing them, but there's just nothing I could do about it really. So I don't. This is a big tornado, no doubt about it. I have no doubt this is a big tornado for sure. I'm trying to see if I can find some storm chase feeds here that have it, and nobody really is in position here on these chaser feeds here to really have it. So the ones I'm looking at anyway. But I know that I know some people have it and probably got it, and we would probably be up there. And I know Cameron is not going to be happy with me because I didn't send him up there today. But I really thought today, it's kind of up there in southwest Oklahoma. And we thought it'd be more of a hail, but it is a big. I'm looking at it. It's a big tornado on the ground, folks. Really, really big. I know I'm really not supposed to do this, but I'm going to do it anyway. So I know Reed's on it. He's probably. I don't. I think that he. I think he doesn't have his Dominator today, so I don't think he's in the Dominator. I think he's rented a car. I think he's in his rental Dominator. So try to find. There you go. This is Brett Adair. Now that's a good picture of it there. Hard to see. It's a very large tornado there. It's just big. It's right there in the center, out over rural areas there, out over a field, which is good. And Brett's going to change around. He's going to move around here in a minute. But like I say, Brett he's a fan. This guy's a fantastic storm chaser, fantastic, and he'll get in position to get it. Look at that, though. Huge tornado there, folks. Look at how big that thing is. You can see the back side of it there, real big. So hopefully he gets in position again here in a moment to be able to show it. So the latest on the tornado itself, it's doing exactly what I said it would do. It's now moving more due north, but going to move between Altus and East Duke. If you live on the east side of Duke, brace yourself for impact of tornado about to cross the highway there. If you live just west of Altus, tornado about to cross. Big tornado about to cross those areas. Huge tornado about to cross those areas. From there, it's going to lift up north towards Martha and Blair. So it'll probably begin to weaken soon as it lifts northward. But Altus, I think right now the storm is going to be just west of you. I think you're going to be okay. Now the storm is getting wrapped in rain. It's starting to move into the main core. And we'll have to see if another tornado can develop on the back side of it, because sometimes looks like we got a TDS now. We have a tornado debris signature. So this tornado is actually lifting up debris in the air now. So let's go to that here. You can see the little blue area. See where that pink triangle is? That's where the tornado is. That's debris. So it's definitely got some debris being lofted up there, and that's what we call a TDS. It's a tornadic debris signature. You can see it there, and it's going to move. It's probably moving across the highway now. Probably crossing between Altus and Duke. I think that if you're in Altus, I think you're okay. But if you're on the west side of Altus, though, anywhere on the west side, though, you could be you'll be impacted by this tornado very soon. Now, this is a violent tornado. It's a very large tornado, very violent one, and going to be moving there between again Altus and Duke there shortly. So you need to please be taking shelter if you are in those particular areas. Now, let me talk quickly about the rest of our area and what's going on. So people want to know. So the only warnings we got are there in southwestern Oklahoma. Those are the only warnings. If you look down into Texas, there's nothing going on down here. And I do not expect severe weather down here in Texas tonight. I think those storms are going to continue to stay where they are now. They're going to slowly begin to drift eastward, maybe across northern Tillman. They're going to move perhaps over towards Snyder, Roosevelt, Hobart. And they could wind up into Comanche County perhaps. But if you are anywhere outside of southwest Oklahoma, you do not have to worry about storms for you tonight. Anywhere down our way, don't worry about it. So like Ty earlier was telling me, hey, I had storm anxiety. No, don't. There's no chance that these storms are going to impact you in North Texas. And I think they'll die out before they get to Duncan. But, we'll watch it and see. If it doesn't, then we'll let you know. James, Saturday does look like it could be pretty bad, but we'll have to kind of wait and see how it all develops and how it all plays out. Every storm system we've had this year has overachieved. But I will say that some of these bigger tornadoes that we've had, bigger tornado-looking events, have underachieved. So, I mean, sometimes you just don't know. But it has been a crazy year, and we continue to see the tornado there. You can see it moving. Still a significant tornado on the ground there. Big tornado there, moving due north now. And it's going to miss the heart of Altus. It's going to miss Altus. I mean, unless you're on the west part of town, it's going to miss Altus and cross the highway pretty close to Duke. So if you see that, and you can see the new warning that just came out. And I'm not sure why this warning is over into these areas here. I really don't know. Unless that's for the possible redevelopment of another tornado with this, perhaps. Because this particular tornado is going up to the north. Now, what could happen is as that storm moves north and it perhaps begins to occlude, begins to weaken, then you could see something redevelop on the backside of it. Another tornado could redevelop on the backside, but maybe that's what the Weather Service is thinking. Because as of right now, if I were to draw a warning, I would not draw it in those areas. As a matter of fact, I would have basically Martha, Blair, those areas in the warning, maybe into the western parts of Altus. But this is a dangerous tornado on the ground. We've seen it on several streams here today. I mean, I'm still looking at one right now from Brother Dare, and it's it's not the big massive tornado that the big photogenic tornado that it was. It's done gotten wrapped in rain now, so it's kind of hard to see it. But it was a big tornado for sure. And I'm looking here, and it looks like again, tornado was definitely wrapped in rain. I'm just looking at storm chaser feeds here. If I see anything interesting, I'll try to bring it in. But that was a big tornado, and again, on a day it really didn't favor a lot of tornadic activity. But these supercells this year, they've just overachieved. They've just been able to produce more than what they should be producing. But that was a big tornado. We had it live here on a chaser stream. And I'm still looking at some streams here, just kind of looking at them myself. I don't have them on here for you, but I'm looking at some streams. And, I don't see any tornadoes on those. But they probably wouldn't have it now because it's all wrapped in rain. So the latest radar update, again, has this tornado missing Altus. No, Henrietta, nowhere in North Texas has to worry about these. Henrietta does not have to worry about it. Randolph is in the clear, yes. So that's crossing there, about to cross the highway, still a significant tornado that's wrapped in rain. This could begin to weaken some, but it's going to move between Duke and Altus. but it could pivot up towards Martha. So if you're in Martha, it could perhaps move kind of up towards you there. So Martha there in southwestern Oklahoma, maybe west of Friendship. Definitely going to miss Alusty. Alusty, you are going to be fine from this. The tornado is not going to impact you. It's moving north, so watch out, Martha. Areas west and northwest of Altus. You can see the strong inflow moving into that storm. Wow, I wish I could illustrate on this. I need to figure out a way to do that because that is really some pretty strong inflow. So really strong tornado, though, it has been with this storm here. But look at how Lawton is. Lawton's a long way away. And again, I think that this storm is going to, in time, could impact Lawton, in time. But at least for now, it looks like the tornado is trying to weaken some as it's crossing the highway. It's wrapped in rain, and it's occluding. As it moves northward into that rain and it begins to wrap around, you won't see as much warm, moist air moving into it. So the rotation is going to become broader, and the tornadoes it's going to start roping out here pretty soon. It's a pretty long-lasting tornado. It's been on the ground for a while, but this is going to begin to rope out here pretty soon. And it's going to weaken here, and we'll have to see if anything else can develop on the backside of it. But it certainly looks like there's still a tornado on the ground. But don't be surprised if this thing starts weakening here soon. So I'm not at least with this particular tornado, I'm not concerned about the eastern parts of this warning here. So Friendship, Humphreys, those areas over there in eastern Jackson County, I'm not as worried about them. But it's kind of on the western end that we're kind of watching. And we'll have to see if anything can develop and spin up on the backside of it. That was a big time tornado, though. We watched it develop right here on the stream. Impressive stuff for sure. Definitely. So what we'll do is we're going to watch them. I'll stay on here for just a little bit longer. And, keep an eye on this. And, when it kind of crosses these areas, I'll probably jump off because there's just not a whole lot of reason to stay on, once it starts to weakening and getting kind of rule. I'll keep an eye on things. But again, if you're down in North Texas, nothing to worry about. The only places that I'm a little concerned, again, would be Jackson County, northern Tillman County. I'm talking about up north of Tipton. Then you jump over there and maybe, what is that? Is that Hardeman County there, south of kind of Roosevelt, Snyder area? And then maybe over into western and northwestern Comanche County, maybe. But we'll have to see if it can survive that long. Typically speaking, at nighttime when we lose the daytime heating, we usually see we usually begin to see the cap increase. So these storms gradually show a weakening phase. And you can see the colors go from the green, the red to purple, and back down to yellow. So it looks like the storm is indeed weakening a bit. Let's look at the latest velocities on here. It's still there. It's still on the ground, right along the highway there. There's your tornado, but it appears to be a little bit smaller than it was. Still on the ground. It's wrapped in rain. And moving between East Duke and Altus, or Duke and Altus. So if you're in those areas between those, it's crossing the highway now. It looks like it's going to miss the heart of downtown Altus, or the main part of Altus there. So if you are in Altus, I think you're going to be okay. I know the tornado siren's been going off there, but it's northwest of there by a few miles up towards Martha that I'd be watching. Once again, the storm is showing signs, the tornado is showing signs of weakening a bit now that it's kind of occluded some. Still big hail, though, and it's been hailing a lot there north of the storm. We see some hail in 3 inches in diameter, baseball-size hail with this. But we'll have to see if something else redevelops on the backside of it, because it certainly could. And if it redevelops on the backside, then we may have to worry about that too then a little bit. All right, so again, I believe that you're going to be okay there in Altus. So let me see what if we got anybody else asking for. I am off on Saturday, by the way, but we've gone with first alert weather day for Saturday, so I'm probably going to work if things continue to trend in that direction. Plus, I can't have all the fun, right? I gotta let Cameron have some too. It could, but I think it'll be much weaker when it gets up there if it does overnight tonight. So the tornado is crossing the highway there. If you're in Altus, it's a close call, but I think you're okay. Duke, you're okay, I think. But between there is where we're seeing this rain wrap tornado on the ground, and it's a little bit smaller than it was. Still significant rotation though. I mean, it's still got some mean rotation there in it. Look at the evolution of this though. Look at how it just kind of spun around and just went north and boom. So something else that could happen is it could be stalling out here now, and if that happens, it could wind up moving back south and circling on the back around, and then we could have to worry about an Altus if that were to happen. Let's just see what happens here. No, it's not going to hit Wichita Falls. It's not going to hit Wichita Falls, so you're fine. But we kind of have to. I'm keeping an eye there on that. This thing is doing some really really funny stuff here. There it is moving, and it looks like it may be stalling again right along the highway there. And if that happens, then it could wind up moving back to the south and to the southeast. This is just erratic storm for sure. Big time erratic storm. Yeah, Vernon's okay. Vernon's fine. Not worried about Vernon. The hook has kind of gone away, but let's see if it redevelops on the backside of it here. I'm kind of not liking some of the things I see. It's kind of stalling here some now. The tornado is itself, and it could be about to reorganize. Was pretty confident that the thing was occluding and it was about to weaken, but we'll have to see if that's going to happen. Yeah, it is this is definitely one of those. It's not even a super strong shear tornado day either. I mean, you can kind of see it here now. If this thing is stalling, and it looks like the tornado has indeed stalled there, right there along the highway, it could wind up looping back around again to the south. So we'll have to watch. Which way is it moving? I'm in Lawton currently, but live in Walters. The storm is kind of drifting to the east. It's not moving very fast. It could perhaps. So you can't hear me, Candace. You can't hear me. I've got my audio turned up as loud as I can go. And some people have been saying all day they can't hear me. Other people have been saying they can hear me loud and clear. So I don't know. I don't know what it is that I need to do differently. So you guys need to tell me if you can't hear me. Yes, Henrietta is safe, Zachary. No problems there. Just like that one. Yeah, it kind of is like that. It's a freak storm, man. It really is. So it's like almost like a merry-go-round. Look at that thing. It's just kind of sitting and pivoting. And this thing could wind up moving back to the south. I'm hoping it keeps on jumping north and weakens, but it's kind of not acting like it wants to do that now. Grandfield, you're going to be fine. It does look like the tornado is weakening a little bit. That is the latest velocity does show the tornado. It's much smaller than it was. It's basically holding steady still right there on the highway between Duke and Altus. It's just it's weakened. It's not as strong as it was. But you still see a little tornado in there. Let's see if this continues to weaken. I sure hope it does. But you could see another one perhaps try to redevelop on the backside. So, okay, that's what you're saying. We're fine. We're fine here in North Texas. No problems here. Yes, Wichita Falls, Iowa Park in the clear. This freak storm, though, what's happening is just a lot of high-octane moisture. When you see those dew point temperatures running well up into the 70s, these supercells just have so much to work with that, they just get strong and they start producing. That's just what they do. All that warm, moist air been developing into this storm. That is in a beastly storm. I can see what we call the rear flank downdraft surging now on the backside of it. And that happens oftentimes when these storms occlude. So you may wind up seeing, with the RFD surging the way it is, you may wind up seeing this storm becoming more of a wind threat than a tornado threat here as it heads into Altus. So that's good news. We want that RFD to surge quickly out and become, and we want the storm to become outflow dominant, because when that happens, you don't see the push and pull as much. Right now, you've got pull going in on the north side of it, and you got push coming in on the south side of it. So you get the merry-go-round, and it results in a tornado there. And that's what we've seen. We've seen a violent tornado there, mostly over rural areas, and it continues to kind of just hold steady, really not moving much along the highway. Certainly has been a very well-developed tornado here today. But again, if you look, this is the only game in town. There's no other storms to the south here. I don't expect storms to develop to the south. And all that white fuzz, you saw that one little shower that tried to, look at that, boom, tried to flare up there near Wichita Falls earlier, and it just went away. That's the cap. Notice all that fuzziness there. That fuzziness you see on the radar, that is the cap. That's convective inhibition. It's the radar showing warm air. It shows a density difference above the Earth's surface. That's what it's showing. And it creates a lot of this fuzziness you see on the radar. And that's, you can see how the cap ate that one up near Iowa Park, so nothing can develop there. But these up here, these are well-developed supercells. They're able to continue to maintain themselves despite that and developing cap a little bit better, because they're just stronger. They're more organized. And latest velocities, I still see a very weak tornado, but this thing is weakening very fast. His roping out is almost gone there, just north of the highway between Altus and Duke. The storm is weakening here now, and it looks like we'll see what happens. You're about to see an RFD surge. It means a rear flank downdraft's about to surge out. You can see the red punching in on the south side of that. So hopefully that means storms about to become outflow dominant. But we'll have to see if anything else can get going back into that again there too. I don't think it will. I think we're going to eventually see this storm try to weaken. Matter of fact, you don't see near the rotation in the storm that we did. It looks like it's starting to punch out now. I still see there's still a tornado with this. I still see a tornado on the ground with it. In fact, right in there, just north of that little yellow triangle, you're still seeing one there. Between Duke and Altus, but it looks to me like this thing is starting to weaken considerably. No longer a violent tornado. And matter of fact, you don't see near the rotation that we did see in the storm. It's kind of broadened out some. Yeah, mostly a heavy rain and hail producer now up there in Oklahoma. Probably hailing in Altus at this time. Sirens are going off, but as of right now, if you're watching me on this stream here, I think Altus is going to be okay for now anyway. I'm looking at the velocities on here. I still see this one tornado up there to the north, but I don't see. So it looks like the Weather Service changed their warning here. I hope it did. No, it didn't. But I think this eastern part of the warning is going to be fine. Yeah, it should be hailing quite a bit there in Altus at this time. If we look there. You can see quite a bit of hail falling, with this particular storm there. But we've been on velocities. We're more concerned about that. You don't see the concentrated area of rotation. You can see a lot of this is just going away here. So the mesocyclone appears to have weakened. Mesocyclone means the spin in the storm. The rotating updraft appears to have weakened. It looks like the storm to me is weakening. So. But we'll see if this thing can start to try to spin back up again a little bit. You still got this push there. There may be something trying to spin now, something weak just on the southwest side of Altus there. But it hadn't tightened up here yet enough there for us to even be too concerned with it. We'll have to see if this is more of a push of wind, which, you don't see it quite as concentrated, but it still could. It still could do so. So we have to just kind of watch it here and see. I want to stay with this. The green arrow means that it's kind of weakened a bit now, so that's good. Yeah, you don't even see the hook echo. I believe that you're starting to see the impacts of the convective inhibition of the cap on it some now. So that's good. Good news. And it looks like Southwest Oklahoma is the only game in town now. That's it. Once this is gone, that's it. So, all right. Well, I think what I'm going to do now is I think that I'm going to. I just want to make sure this is not redeveloping near Altus. There's a little bit of a turn there. I think this is more of a push of what we call outflow winds now in the storm. It doesn't appear to be nearly as organized. It's kind of stretched out. So I think that you're okay in Altus. It looks like the tornado has now lifted. There may be a very, very weak spin there just east of Duke, what's left of the original tornado. But notice how this thing is just kind of broken apart. It's just not nearly what it was. Yeah, they can. They do cycle, Jarrett, in real favorable environments. But I believe with us seeing with the sun starting to go down now and we're beginning to cool off a little bit out there, it may last for a little bit longer, but I believe we're about to see the cap kick in, and that's going to probably help limit the amount of spin that's able to be generated down at the Earth's surface. So I'm still watching it. Basically everything we said would happen has happened with it. Just thankfully this thing occluded before it got into Altus. You are seeing a little bit of a push of wind there into Altus now with that heavy rain and hail, but there doesn't appear to be any significant tornadoes in those areas. So if you're in Altus, I believe you're going to be okay. Stay in your safe spot just to be on the safe side. But I do not see anything in the way of significant rotation with the storm at this time, which is definitely some good news. Heavy rain and hail appears to be the main threat with the storm. You no longer see this big hook echo with it. It may try to recycle again. We can't say that it's going to be completely done, but you might be seeing another little hook try to develop maybe over near a Lusty. Let's see if there's anything new down that way with the velocities. Not yet. Looks like the Weather Service did cancel that tornado warning, which is good. Yeah, it just looks to me like right now the threat for tornadoes is over with for right this second. All right. Well, I'm going to jump off now, guys. It looks like the thread is kind of winding down. If we see anything new that pops up, we'll jump back on, but I believe we're okay. Cameron's at the station. Again, I'm off work tonight. We thought pretty isolated event today, so I didn't go in. But, certainly we'll be keeping an eye on Saturday, and if anything else breaks out